Welcome back to today's economic news. I'm John, your host, here to unravel the latest economic narratives and peel back the layers of decisions that affect our everyday lives. Today, we are diving headlong into a story that touches on both public health and national security, a narrative crafted by none other than former President Donald Trump. So stick around as we dissect Trump's bold move to officially designate fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. Now, you may be wondering why this drastic label for a drug. After all, terms like weapons of mass destruction typically evoke imagery of nuclear missiles or deadly gas, not small vials of synthetic opioids. Yet, this executive decision has broad implications, calling into question whether this is a necessary tactical approach or an overreach of governmental power. Why should you care about this, you might ask? Because it's a decision wrapped in controversy, riddled with economic consequences, and threatens yet another chapter in the long history of misguided drug policies. Before we unravel today's crisis, let's take a step back and examine the past, as context is crucial. Picture it, the late 1990s and early 2000s, a time when prescription painkillers were handed out like candy, leading us down the dark path of opioid dependence. Fast forward to today, the opioid crisis has metamorphosed into something far more menacing. Fentanyl, a synthetic opioid, is at the heart of this epidemic due to its potency and the lethality of just 2 milligrams, which, mind you, is enough to kill an average adult. The scourge of illegal production and trafficking has been a battleground riddled with failed attempts at curbing its spread. Drug cartels, particularly from Mexico, have capitalized on this demand, illustrating a crisis not only within our borders, but extending into international relations and public safety situations. Trump's classification of fentanyl as a WMD reflects a strategic move to apply pressure on nations seen as enablers and to bolster arguments around national security. Now, let's sink our teeth into the hard data here. On December 15, 2025, the grim statistic that should catch anyone's attention: fentanyl is responsible for the deaths of an estimated 200,000 to 300,000 people annually. Yes, you heard that correctly. That's a staggering loss of human life, comparable to a city being wiped off the map each year. But let's pause and ask ourselves, what does rebranding fentanyl as a WMD actually solve? Today's executive order claims it offers the use of military-grade resources to tackle drug trafficking networks, ostensibly leveling the playing field against these formidable criminal enterprises. President Trump himself stated, "Today, I'm taking another step to protect Americans from the scourge of deadly fentanyl flooding into our country." A bold claim indeed, Mr. Trump, but as is far too common, the rhetoric hides a different narrative. Was this a necessary choice, or are we hopping on a wagon toward excessive force and misallocated resources? Critics are rightly worried that calling fentanyl a WM threatens to misdirect funds away from vital public health strategies towards extravagant military tools better suited for terrorism than a health crisis. Imagine, if you will, managing your own household's budget this way, diverting essential funds from necessary health expenses to purchase an arsenal of expensive weapons. Does that sound financially prudent or even practical? Moreover, while the mainstream celebrates this move as an essential crackdown, the reality is shrouded in potential overreach. Classifying fentanyl as a WMD invites a militarized response to what is fundamentally a public health issue, sparking fears of further stigmatizing those suffering from addiction. Rather than creating supportive and rehabilitative avenues, we risk criminalizing addiction, painting it with the broad brush of terrorism. So let's take a moment to connect the dots using some libertarian wisdom. This supposed solution spells out economics gone haywire, spiraling enforcement costs, inflating national budgets, eventually pushing taxpayers further under an inflated currency. Are we witnessing a government so eager to appear tough on drugs that it's willing to plunge deeper into the debt abyss? Furthermore, if there's one consistent theme in the history of U.S. drug policy, it's incompetence. Time and again, we see policies that focus on punishment rather than addressing root causes, leading to skyrocketing addiction rates. Shuffling in a militaristic approach echoes this trend, suggesting an inefficient allocation of our precious resources, a classic example of missing the forest for the trees. And let's not forget the chilling effect on our freedoms. This WMD designation may pave the way for invasive measures and increased surveillance, tightening the noose on privacy rights in communities marked by drug use. Imagine waking up one morning only to find that your neighborhood is now viewed through a lens of suspicion, every corner a potential hub of illegal activity. The irony here is that in attempting to obliterate the supply of this deadly substance, we may just be digging our own graves, financially, socially, and morally. If you're as tired as I am of paying for these top-down mistakes with our hard-earned dollars, while our communities crumble, it's time to rethink who really benefits from this game. If you too are concerned about the direction we are heading, I urge you, hit that subscribe button. Join the conversation. Stay informed, and together, let's hold those in power accountable for the decisions that impact all of our lives. Thank you for tuning in. I'm John, and this has been today's economic news. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and I'll see you next time.